Welcome to the Gavel. I am Terry Ikumi. Nigeria, with an estimated population of 200 million people, has a police force of approximately 370,000 personnel, indicating a deviation from the United Nations recommendation of 1 policeman to 400 people. Our first report is on the dearth in manpower of the Nigeria Police Force, as raised in the House of Representatives before their break, and a look at calls for recruitment into the police to meet the country's internal security concerns.
A motion drawing the attention of lawmakers in the Green Chamber to the inadequate manpower in the Nigeria Police Force was raised on the 16th of July this year. The motion attributed the security challenges plaguing the country to the insufficient number of policemen, stating that the police was overwhelmed.
The House notes that effective policing is the nation's most pressing challenge. Hence, the need to boost the capacity of Nigerian police force to enable it to perform its core constitutional function of maintaining law and order and safeguarding the lives and property of ordinary citizens, thereby addressing the state of insecurity in the country.
Representative Ajibola Murena further stated that the police had made a proposal which would serve as a measure for bridging the manpower gap, but the lawmaker did not think that that proposal was viable.
Also conscious that the Police Service Commission, PSC, is proposing having part-time constables and has outlined the requisite qualifications of prospective constables and some operational details, and they will be drawn from the pool of already employed Nigerians in various professions who are physically fit and within the ages of 21 and 50 years, and who, unlike their regular counterparts, will not be harmed even when in uniform, as their duties will be restricted to administrative matters, crowd control, alternative dispute resolutions, emergency management, and other less risky or sensitive services. The House resolves, 1, to call on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to direct the Police Service Commission to put on hold the proposal for recruitment of part-time constables, as the measure will not address the shortfall in police personnel in the country or ensure the needed security.
There have been repeated calls from lawmakers for the creation of state police, which they believe would bridge the police-to-public ratio gap and curb crime.
And I want to suggest clearly that this Senate must take it as a responsibility to make provision for state police going forward as quickly as possible. So if we are able to come articulate processes and procedures that will ensure that this is not abused, I think that will go a long way in resolving this problem, so that each state will have the type of police they need.
The poor welfare of the police, however, has been regarded as being partly responsible for the lack of interest of citizens to join the police force, which draws the question of how an increase in the number of policemen will be achieved without creating an enticing welfare system for the police.
In addition of recognizing the distinguished senators for the...
Before the National Assembly went on break, the Inspector General of Police met with the President of the Senate, where he urged the National Assembly to look into the budget of the Nigeria Police as a way of improving its efficiency.
In terms of restructuring and reviewing our budget process, I mean that with the police, so that every state command should have its own budget separate from that of force secretaries, both capital appropriation and overhead. With that, we know that if the appropriation is passed to law, every command will know the amount that is supposed to spend, rather than everything coming from police headquarters, and then police headquarters will be sharing it in the extent that it will be very effective.
Now, some of the issues from that report, like the recruitment of part-time constables, police welfare, budgeting for the police, amongst others, formed the basis of our discussion with a former police public relations officer, Ojukwu.
in 1999, when we began democracy, it was like 160,000 policemen. About the same ratio, one policeman to about 700 people. You can't really get it to one policeman to 400 as said to be recommended by United Nations. And you don't have to fill the whole space with police. There can never be enough policemen to the Nigerian population. What we need is that every Nigerian should be his policeman. You police your space, police your environment, police yourself, and then the general police will augment. There's that dearth of manpower, I do agree. But elsewhere in the world, in fact, there's nowhere in the world I have enough policemen. What they've done is to use gadgets, equipment, to complement what the police are doing. If you have cameras along the streets, you don't need to have policemen manning the roads, stopping you when you beat traffic. The camera will catch you, and that camera is a policeman, even though it's not a human being. It will aid policing. If you have a central control system whereby 2 policemen can watch what is going on within Abuja, for instance, and from that location, they contact other policemen elsewhere, you reduce the manpower requirement of the police. But because our policing is not yet technology-driven, no thanks to the poor technological development of this country, that's why we're asking for more policemen, more policemen.
That position has also been canvassed by a lot of people. I mean, you just also mentioned that some street lights, CCTV cameras are not functioning, which are supposed to help in the policing. But then the former IGP, before he left office, proposed constables, which would help, at least to an extent, increase the number of policemen or policing generally. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you know, the federal government recently approved recruitment of 10,000 policemen. These are constables. To join the force. Fine. That's a welcome development. There was a time during the military regime there was no recruitment of policemen anywhere in the country. And later on, government woke up and they began to recruit 40,000 per year. And that was you were recruiting 40,000 policemen. You didn't improve the training facilities. You didn't improve the welfare. A lot of garbage was brought into the system, and that's affecting Nigeria. So the recent call to have 10,000 policemen, there's even one ongoing. It's a welcome development, but that is just still scratching the surface. We can't run away from technology. And you can't have 1 million policemen to police 200 million Nigerians. We can't afford it.
I think that brings to question or the reactions of some to the need to increase more policemen, where they have said, if we have about 300,000 policemen and we question the kind of welfare that they get, how do you entice citizens to get interested in joining the police force under that circumstance?
Yeah. You know, we have a grave unemployment problem in this country. Associated with it is poverty. People are crying. You know. Whenever police opens up the website, the portal for recruitment, people don't care about the welfare packages. They're looking for a way to get employed. A boy wants to leave his house in the morning and have a place to go. A girl wants to leave the house in the morning after graduation, after NYSC, as the case may be, wants to have an employment. People are there in their hundreds of thousands, hundreds of thousands. They're not dying. They're not the least paid in this country, actually. But the pay is not good enough. The welfare package is not good enough. Remuneration, benefits, just working condition is poor. But people who enter the police, they want to have a job. It's a good job, quite all right. They want to have a job. There are no jobs anywhere else. They join in. But the working condition is poor. And because it is poor, people are not properly motivated to give of their best. And Nigeria is not the better for it. We need to improve the working conditions, housing, kitting, equipment, accoutrement, working materials, office spaces, and above all, the respect we give to the policeman. If you treat police like footmat, garbage, you don't expect him knowing full well that it's a bona fide citizen of Nigeria, is a full-blooded Nigerian, he can give it back to you in one way or another. If you treat police with respect, they are not the least paid in this country. They are not the least educated. Something that police are not educated, that's a fallacy. They went to the same schools that other Nigerians went to.
But if you say that, we can't deny that we've had cases where policemen have also assaulted citizens. I mean, in the past, we used to have a case where we'd have street patrols of policemen, but recently we found out that that has turned out to, that has resulted in more assault of citizens, innocent citizens by policemen. So we're looking at having a police force that can call for respect without demanding it. So it's more about earning the respect, and it's more dependent on how you train these policemen to present themselves or approach the citizens. Don't you agree?
Yes, I agree with you in part. Police training itself is rough and tough. There's no police boy. Everybody in the police is a man, because you are 18 years and above before you join the police. So the person must have gone through some acculturation within the society, must have gone through some training in his family, in the schools he attended before he joined the police. Now, when anybody joins the police, he's being reoriented.
I'd like us to look at the budgeting process of the budgets generally of the police. You mentioned that we're not actually budgeting for the police in the entire sense of the areas, with direct focus on the areas which they need it. Do you think that the police is underfunded, or the policemen are just not well paid?
Both. The police is underfunded because the requirements, what the police proposes every year to enable it to run the system, both in terms of capital and recurrent expenditure overhead, what it gets is like sometimes 7%, 11%. That is underfunded. But then again, we need to question the budgeting process. Budgeting has to be based on needs. If the policeman in a creek needs a boat, and you just stay in Abuja and make a budget, you want 40 billion for police logistics vehicles, you provide four-wheel drive vehicles, they can run in the creeks. So budgeting the process should be bottom up and not up bottom. You don't allocate, we'll give you 2 vehicles. Do I need 2 vehicles, or do I need horses, or camels, or donkeys? Because Nigerian location, the terrains are different. So budgeting has to be according to need, and the allocation has to be according to need. Underpayment it should not be mentioned. It's something we say, don't overstate it. We have the least paid police force in the whole of West Africa. And we're not the poorest enough in West Africa, for God's sake. Policemen don't get anything actually.
Your submission, does it fall in line with that of the IGP, who recently visited the President of the Senate and called for a separate budget for states, police at state level?
I didn't get the full details of what the IG discussed.
What he wanted from the National Assembly was to have a separate budget for state policing, and not state policing in the sense of us as being, canvassed by some quarters, which we'll come to, but you already mentioned bottom to top approach. Is that the same thing as making sure that the state budget for states are separated in the budget and not just one budget for the entire
Yes, I will agree with that. And it makes more sense. Enugu State, they have a need for 25 vehicles, 5 trucks, this and this. If National Assembly is budgeting for Nigeria Police, they get to Enugu State. They want 25 vehicles. Let's give them 14. The 14 are going to Enugu State. But when you give police generally, Nigeria Police generally, 200 vehicles, and you say we just get them 200 vehicles, and the world is clapping. When you divide it, find out any state may not get 12. Some may get 2, some 3. So if it's targeted at the states and areas of need, it will make more sense. And by that reason, by that token, you'll be able to demand for accountability. You can go to Enugu State or Bauchi State, say last year we gave you 5 vehicles, where are they? But nobody can do that now. National Assembly that has oversight function on the police cannot go to Taraba State. How come the vehicle we gave last year? You didn't give me any vehicle. You gave to force headquarters. And they gave to me 3, 2, as the case may be.
Welcome back to the Gavel. The focus is still on the lack of adequate manpower in the Nigeria Police, and questions as raised by the federal lawmakers before their break in July. on whether to recruit more policemen or increase the welfare and capacity of the existing ones, while suing also for community policing as a solution to curbing crime. The conversation with former police public relations officer Emmanuel Ojukwu continues. What do you think is the solution to the crime rate? Is it increasing the manpower at the federal level, which spreads across states, or should we now break it down into state policing?
Well, to help us solve the criminal tendencies in the country, and the police are not overwhelmed actually, we need to adopt a problem-solving approach. What are the root causes of these criminal tendencies? What gives birth? What are the push factors or the pull factors? Let's stop dealing with the symptoms when the root causes have not been addressed. If you get to the root causes, bad roads, people stop on the bad roads. If you slow down, they may mob you and whatever. Bad roads, congestion, noise, pollution, poor housing development, no streets, many states don't have streets. These areas, these things are crowding, unemployment, and poverty. Of course, Nigeria is said to be the poverty capital of the world, and that's not a good description for a country. Some of these things fuel criminality. And then again, the rich gap divide. Some are said to earn 20 million in a month. Others are struggling to get 30,000. The same head. They went to the same school. There's inequity. It is here. Nepotism. People are marginalized. Overall corruption. Some of these are factors. But then again, state police may not solve our problems because the police you have right now is Nigeria police, police of Nigeria, the entire Nigeria, by Nigerians. Every policeman is located in one state or the other. And then where the public also partners with the police, because you don't police for a people, you police with the people. The crime, issues of crime are locally based, they're Nigerian based, and Nigerians have to solve their problem. Part of our constitution, I think in section 14 or so, every citizen is obligated by the constitution to assist the police in maintaining law and order. So when you marry all of these, good equipment, good motivation, good pay, acceptance of your police, not their police, partnering with them to get things done, we deal with issues of crime that we have in this country.
I mean, if we're looking at increasing the number, except you're saying that increasing the number isn't the solution. I know you've made some submissions that sounded like we shouldn't really focus on increasing the number, but focus more on equipment. But if we're looking to increase the number, as has been canvassed by many, even some policemen that I've spoken with have said we need more policemen, because some of the challenges you mentioned are there. They exist in almost every country. Are we ready to handle some of these issues? Should we focus on just equipping the police, or should we also increase the number?
The police reform has to be holistic. Number is a factor. I'm not saying number is not a factor. Number is a factor, equipment is a factor, motivation is a factor. One area I mustn't forget is, how do you use the available number? Those that are already on ground, how do you use them? Manpower management is key. But let me tell you, we have in this country a system where somebody who has become a VIP, maybe by dint of hard work, or we made him a VIP by giving him a political position, he has become a very important, he's become exposed. And we are duty bound, the police are duty bound to protect him. But if somebody wants to have 40 policemen to go with him all around, he doesn't need them. But to show strength, that he is different from the rest of us. He's a VIP, not just a VIP. And VIPs contest among themselves. This man is a VIP. This man is a very important VIP. This man is a VVVP. And all that. All these issues are issues of values.
Now that you mentioned VIPs, there are quite a lot of reactions to that, and why some persons have said that increasing the number of policemen might not work because we're practically increasing the number of policemen that may be attached to some of these VIPs. Yes. And I think that from looking at the police reform bill, which was passed by the Senate, if you look at that police reform bill, It doesn't clearly state how many policemen, the minimum or maximum number of policemen that should be attached to VIPs. Is that something we should be looking into?
No, that bill is just about equipping the police, giving them training, retraining.
But nothing in the law states the limited number, the minimum or maximum number.
I don't think such things can be legislated upon. It depends on the police leadership and then the political leadership. Now, the police created what they call special protection units to protect VIPs. And that should be paid for.
That's policemen as well.
Yeah, of course, yes. You know, but we must protect our VIPs. It's important. We must protect them.
But with how many?
Police did not make them VIPs. Yes. Nigerians made them VIPs, and they're very important to us. If anything happens to them, we may not be where we ought to be. We must protect them. But the issue is that we need to do a reorientation of values in this country. What does one person need 60 policemen for? Is to show his class. To show his class. He doesn't need them. He can pay for them because he has got the money. Now we are saying you pay for this policeman. He can pay for 50. He doesn't scratch his pocket at all. But let us be more reasonable in how we use manpower. A policeman opening gate for you, holding an umbrella for you. Is that what a policeman should be doing?
Who is a VIP?
Well,
that is entitled to police protection.
Somebody's not entitled. Everybody's entitled. Every Nigerian citizen is entitled.
I know, but we're talking about VIP.
VIP is somebody who is a very important person. It's a normal semantics.
Are we talking about government officials now?
Could be government officials.
Private individuals.
Private individuals too, who are captains of industry.
If we're looking at the way forward, and we're talking about VIPs getting more policemen than they should, and we can't even categorize who is a VIP and who isn't, as long as anybody. In fact, the law says that a private individual can request for police protection. And this private individual is not clearly stated as to who can or cannot. It just says a private individual or government official can request for police protection and has to go through the Inspector General of Police, who will pass that through, who will approve that with the consent of the president. Now, this is the law. It's clearly stated that it's not something that anybody could just walk into a police station, ask the DPO or anyone in charge for police protection and get it. Do you think that we're following that? We're following what the law says?
Well, the IG is the commander of Nigeria Police. He administers his men. So if requests come to him for the posting of policemen to VIPs, he will use his discretion. All policemen are subjected to his postings and directives. If somebody asks for 40 policemen, it lies with the IG to cut it to 20 to 10, judging the need. He normally assesses it, using his very good officers to assess the need and then apply the policemen as the need may be. Then the other ones who are not attached to VIPs, who are in offices, it lies with every commissioner of police, area commander or DPO to deploy his men in such a manner as to cover the entirety.
Without the consent or approval of the IG.
That's his job. It's a normal police duty. These things are localized within the police. Who to post, how to post, and how to supervise them. Where one doesn't supervise very well, he's said to lack supervision or lack command. He may lose his appointment, his posting, and nobody wants to go through that.
Who do you think should be held accountable, or who do you think can make the reforms in the process of attaching policemen to VIPs so that we don't have that number of policemen attached to a particular VIP, which is directly affecting the number of policemen available to police the rest
yes,
of the citizens?
I think the accountability of how policemen are deployed or used in this country lies with the IG. That's why he's the commander. In the state, it lies with Commissioner of Police and down the line. And every year, the police gives an annual report to the president in which he states what has happened within the force. So if there are issues, they should be brought up. Besides, there are other oversight agencies, National Assemblies there, Police Service Commission, Human Rights Commission, the media, like you said, civil society groups. If they keep calling attention, drawing or pointing fingers at this and this, the IG I know is responsive and is responsible to begin to tinker with the thing, to meet the aspirations of the public, which the police serves. Every policeman has been employed by Nigerians to serve Nigerians, whether VIP or no VIP.
During your time as first PRO, there was a Ministry of Police Affairs.
Yes, there was.
There was. If you look at the last 4 years without the police ministry, what differences do you see?
Quite a lot. As I said earlier on, during the last 4 years, I'm not sure any vehicle was bought for senior police officers. No. But when I was there as a first PRO, when we had Ministry of Police Affairs, a lot of equipment were bought for the police through the ministry. They got to the police. Police benefited the more. I believe they will begin to benefit more. But then again, issue of needs must be attended to. The ministry, they are not policemen. Let them be properly guided and oriented to the needs of the police, which they superintend. They need to have a good understanding of the workings of the police. That you're a ministry of police doesn't mean that you understand the police. The police is on its own. It was there before the ministry. Over 100 years. There are needs, there are challenges. The ministry has to understand the challenges, the needs of the police, and tailor their decisions and their policy guidelines to meet these needs and these challenges. Otherwise, they may not be dancing their own dance without affecting the police positively and overall shortchanging Nigerians.
Well, that's the Gavel for this week. If you have an opinion or question, send an email to thegavel@channelstv.com. Thanks for watching. See you next week. I am Terry Kumi. Bye-bye.